Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi.
My name's CJ.
Nice to meet you. I'm Shayna.
So what brought you in here today?
Okay, so I've been questioning what I need to do about me driving on the highway.
Okay.
Unfortunately, for the past 5 years, I don't know how am I, since I was 17 years old, I have not been able to successfully drive on the highway.
Okay.
And it's been inhibiting me, such as school, work, life in general.
Mhm.
I never visit my family.
Oh.
So I don't know what I should do. Should I try to figure out how to drive on the highway, or should I just like go ahead and just take the streetway like I've been doing?
Well, I mean, at what point did you get your license? I assume 17 whenever you started
16.
driving? 16?
Mhm.
So did you drive on the highway prior to being 17?
I did once,
Mhm.
and me and my friend drove downtown, and he was like, "Oh, you can take the streetway home. You can take the streetway home. Just follow me." So I followed him, and next thing I know, he got onto the highway, and I was okay. We're going on the highway, and it was starting to get dark, and then it started raining, and then my friend swerved in front of a semi and like got off the highway, and I started crying while I'm driving in the rain, 60 miles an hour on the highway, my first time ever, and I started crying really bad so that I couldn't see. And I started crying, and eventually I had to like pull over, and my boyfriend took over even though he didn't even have his license at the time. So it was really bad, and ever since I even try to get on the highway, or if I get on something that looks like the highway, I start hyperventilating, shaking.
It sounds like it was really traumatic when that happened.
I think it was really traumatic, and everyone makes fun of me and says, "Oh, you can just drive on the highway, it's real easy," but I'm like really stressed out about it.
Well, you're not really alone. I've met a lot of people that have a hard time with the highway. It's not just you. Learning how to overcome it though is kind of a bigger obstacle. I mean, especially since that happened so early on in driving, if you had never been on the highway or anything and then just kind of thrown on there. So how did you feel while you were driving? Like, how fast were you going? Just the 60-mile speed limit, or did you have to go faster to keep up?
60 miles an hour, and it was, I think the most stressful part was just not being able to see. And I had really bad eyesight already, and then crying on top of that was really bad. So I wasn't able to see, and my mom, when I was younger, she said, when you're going that fast, you're like a target, like you're a bullet, like you're basically a bomb. So like you have to be really careful, and I've always remembered that. Like,
really?
I could kill someone really easily on the highway going that fast. So.
Well, it's good that you know that. So I mean, you can be more of a defensive driver instead of one of those crazy people out there.
Yeah.
So that's better.
I'm already one of those crazy people out there.
No, you won't even go on the highway. Not even close. But so is it the speed, or is it more of like the environment of the highway, like the openness, or?
I think it's definitely has something to do with the other cars, and it's definitely the speed. And I think the worst part about it is recently my mom and dad were driving home, and they were on the highway, and it was snowy out. So I guess it wasn't recently; it was a good 2 years ago. But they like swerved into the banks, and like they were stuck there for like a good couple hours before someone could come get them.
Oh wow.
And like, I don't know, I feel like people's horror stories of the highway really stick with me. Like, and my boyfriend last year, he was driving home, and his car turned.
You weren't in it, right?
I wasn't in it,
Okay.
but he told me the story, and like I'm never gonna forget. And even when I'm in the car with my friends, you know, one of those old ladies who holds on
to the little thing.
That's me, and like I scream over nothing, and people, it's really bad. So I'm like trying to figure out like what can I do about this? Is this something I need to see a therapist about, or is this something that I can fix right now?
So it's not even necessarily driving; it's being on the highway in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that is, I can imagine, probably affected your daily living as far as like getting to different places and everything.
Yeah,
what do you normally do to cope while you're in the car right now?
Sometimes shut my eyes, depending on who's driving.
Uh-huh.
Listen to the music. I look at my phone. I try not to look at the road while people are driving so that I can, not be all anxious. I'm really anxious when I'm in the car.
And you haven't noticed any sort of like, maybe you haven't gotten used to it over the years as far as like being a passenger, or?
It depends on who's driving, how comfortable I am with them, and depends on a lot of things, like their car. If they have a nice car,
Mhm.
if their car's loud, like my car, it shakes,
Mhm.
and so if someone's driving my car, which I do let people drive my car on the highway, I'm really nervous. But if like my mom got a new car, I'm less nervous in her car because I know like that it's not likely to break down.
Okay.
But definitely depends on who's driving, and
Okay.
I guess I trust other people driving more than I trust myself driving.
That makes sense. I mean, we start off as passengers far before we're ever actually drivers. So I could see how you could get more comfortable with that sort of setting. Have you ever considered maybe taking driving lessons or something as far as like getting training for driving on the highway?
I'll tell you the truth. I did my first time with my driver's instructor. I drove on the highway, but I didn't know I was driving on the highway. It was just one of those long highways, didn't really look like the highway, and I did just fine. And I got to like 70 miles an hour, and it was fine. But that was the only time before the incident. So I was with the instructor, and maybe that would be really helpful if I went with an instructor again and used the instructor's car like I did. That might help me out a lot, just
Okay.
feeling comfortable.
That sounds like a good idea. We'll put a pin in that for now. But so you said you did drive on the highway and you weren't even really scared or anything. Were the
Yeah.
stories sticking? You said how like the stories with your mom and everybody getting stuck on the highway, they stuck with you. Was that after the incident when you turned 16, or was that before the
That was
incident
after.
altogether? After?
Yeah, so
Okay.
like any stories before that I didn't really think about, but after the time I drove on the highway and had that experience, now I remember every single time someone tells me.
Okay. Well, maybe we can see about getting you in another environment where you can kind of more practice. Because, I mean, you don't necessarily have to jump right back on the highway. Maybe you could go to a road that's more closed off where people aren't passing you, but you drive faster. I know there are different roads around Covington or Ludlow area where you're starting to get in more into country where they aren't double lanes, but they'll have the speed limit be around like 50. So maybe that's something that you think you could do, or does that seem scary too?
I guess I'd have to look at the road first. I think I would need someone to drive me down that road first, and then I could think about driving. And here's another thing: I can go 50 in a like 35.
Okay, now that's not good, but all
not
right.
Good. Thank you, but I don't know if it's necessarily the speed or the other cars. So maybe I should get used to the speed first, and then.
Because, I mean, yeah, you could also get used to other cars because there are definitely 2 lanes in a regular setting too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the thought of a highway because you're actually, that's where it happens. So
Yeah.
maybe if you get over maybe that hump, maybe we can just make a couple sessions with our next therapist or something, but.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I can pencil you in for next week.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, Shayna, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice
It's really
meeting
nice
you.
meeting you.
Yeah.